Live from EZK Studios in Eddyville, Kentucky, it's time for the video no one wants. Info on all the winners of Survivor, Winners at War. Your hosts, Darth Easy and Rady Cage.
It's the Survivor Easy Cage podcast. What do you mean nobody wants it?
Nobody wants it. Okay, guys, I am Darth Easy.
I'm Rainy Cage.
This is episode 109 of the Easy Cage Show. This is our cast thoughts of, because we're big Survivor fans for some reason. It's it's the longest running reality TV show going on.
For us, there's probably a few. I don't know.
I think this is the longest show ever.
The Real World and Challenge, I think, were going on before this.
Okay, whatever you say. So, Survivor's been going on for what? 20 years?
Yeah, because it's 2 seasons a year.
Yeah.
It started in the year 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So 20 years.
Yeah.
2020, yeah.
All right, so this is how we're going to do it. We're going to go one player at a time.
Okay.
We're going to go from the oldest winner to the newest winner on the list.
Oldest season, you mean?
Well, technically the oldest winner.
Oh, okay.
So, like the oldest first season to the newest season.
All right.
So the first winner we're going to is Ethan Son for winner of Survivor Africa, and he also played in Survivor All-Stars. He came in 11th place. So, Ethan Son, I don't know how he's going to be able to handle new age Survivor.
Yeah.
And it's cool seeing him in there. I don't think he's the greatest. I would have preferred to see someone like Richard Hatch come back, other than if we're going to bring someone back from Classic Survivor. Because Ethan kind of got lucky. He was the right-hand man of Lex. Lex kind of ran the game in Africa. And then the girl who won the final 3 won immunity, took out Lex, and Ethan was kind of there. And Ethan would have been Kobe, because he would have taken Lex to the final 2, and we would have seen Lex in this season of Survivor.
I agree with everything you're saying. Old school players, we pick them out every once in a while. I will say Jervis when he came back, he did pretty good.
Yeah.
So there is a precedent. I mean, that could happen. And we didn't even mention Ethan's story outside of the game is incredible.
Oh, yeah, it's incredible.
He's battled cancer twice and come back from it. I mean, the fact that he's even alive and able to come back and compete and he's one of those good All-American, like old school Survivor players who, I don't know how he's going to handle the new Survivor, because Survivor is completely different from when he played in not Heroes versus Villains, but All-Stars, which was for 10 years ago. But it's still cool to see him in there.
It is cool.
And maybe he can pull a Jervis and pair with somebody and get real far. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he plays with the new rules and stuff, and everybody scheming.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next player. So our next player is Sandra Diaz-Twine, winner of Survivor Pearl Islands and Hero vs. Villains, and she also came in 15th place in Game Changers. So Sandra, she's technically the queen. She's
only 2-time winner.
She's the only 2-time winner. The first time, I think she deserves it more than the second time, because I don't think she deserves Heroes vs. Villains. I don't think she deserved to win her second time.
I agree.
Because
who should have won?
Do what?
Who should have won her second time?
Parvati.
Bullshit!
Because you're not going to vote for Russell, because Russell treated people like shit. You're just not going to win that way.
Russell should have won that season.
Whatever you say. I could see the argument for Samoa, but I can't see Heroes vs. Villain. I rooted for Russell, and he kind of ruined the season, though, because he
player to never win.
I think Sari more than
she's second, but she's good.
Whatever you say. So, anyways, but our first time when she played Pearl Islands, she actually did play a lot of the strategy. She was with Rupert. They had Johnny Fairplay. She helped. She and her and the Boy Scout Lil was able to go to the finals, and she was able to win because anybody could have beaten Lil.
I heard her tactics in this are sob story tactics, which I don't like. One that we'll get to later. I cannot stand when I was watching this video. It's like, oh God, I forgot I hate this guy. I don't like the whole, I'm poor, so give me the money. I don't like that technique.
But I will say, I don't watch any of the stuff to get ready for the season. I just go into it.
Yeah.
When she played in Game Changers, she was playing kind of like a dominant position. So I was liking Sandra the third time she played more than I liked her the first 2 times. So, but she's the only 2-time winner, so we got to get out the second-time winner.
She's doing something right, and her tactic of anybody but me, she also employs that tactic a lot.
That's a great strategy.
And yeah, that is good strategy. So
hey, I don't care as long as it's not me.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on to Amber Mariano, winner of Survivor All-Stars, and she also came in 6th place in Australia Outback. So, Amber, it's going to be interesting to see how Amber actually plays. We all saw it from the little preview where Boston Rob's like, it's going to be kind of awkward if Daddy's going to vote at Mommy. But it's going to be cool seeing her because, she probably didn't deserve to win All-Stars. The only reason she won was because Rob pissed off the entire jury. And she won a vote 4-3. But she used Rob, and then they actually did fall in love. But her whole strategy was to use Rob to get to the end, kind of like what the girl that Russell brought to the end. Yeah. It's kind of the same kind of strategy. But she does have strategy. They voted her out in Australia Outback because she was such a big threat, and they didn't want to sit next to her in the end.
She's kind of another old school one. Mm-hmm. Like, she hasn't played in 10 years. So I'm definitely interested to see how she adapts to this new scheming territory, and it's interesting because you get a little bit of blood versus water in there too, because it's her and Rob together. So
and they're all be on different tribes too.
Yeah. So it'll be pretty cool. I'm definitely interested. She's not one of my favorites or anything.
I like Amber,
but she's all right.
It's cool to see her back.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Danny Boatwright, the winner of Survivor Guatemala.
Okay.
So this girl, this is her story was a very underdog story whenever she played because her tribe, she merges with the other tribe. Her entire tribe gets voted out, and then somehow she's able to convince enough people, and then she goes to the final 3 and goes to the final 2 and wins the game. So I don't know how she's going to adapt, to be honest with you, because of all the players that played, she's the one I remember least.
Oh, yeah, okay. I was trying to think. I was like, I know I watched her video. Yeah, this had, what's her name in it, who I really love.
Stephanie?
Stephanie, yeah. And, yeah, I watched her little video. She was kind of, I don't know, like a little, stuck her nose up in the air. I don't know how to say it. She thought she was better than everybody else kind of thing on all her little interviews and stuff. I don't know. I don't really remember her either. And I just watched her damn video, and I still don't remember her very much. I remember Stephanie from that season. That's who I love. So,
I like her and everything,
I miss the old days though, where they actually like Guatemala is such an interesting season. Like they were on like pyramids and like
this is when actually they tried to set locations.
Yeah, now it's just like the same place every year. But,
they use the same beaches over and over again. But it's who knows. Yeah. So, and we know she's an underdog because she's a Redskins fan. Oh,
I do remember this was the season too where there was the football player and she called him out. Yeah. She was like, I'm a sportscaster or whatever, and he was trying to hide it.
All right, let's move on to one of my favorite winners on this list.
Okay,
and that's Yul Kwon.
Okay,
he's from Survivor Cook Islands. Cook Islands is one of the biggest seasons to have returning players. From Parvati was in Cook Islands. From Aussie, Penner, Candace was also from Cook Islands. But Yul, I think Parvati wouldn't be as good as she was if she didn't play around Yul her first season. Because Yul's gameplay, he was the puppet master. He had the Tyler Perry basically immunity idol but he basically threatened Jonathan Bender. He said, vote with us or you're going out next. I will play this idol and you are going home. And he just controlled everyone from getting rid of Penner just so he could get a guy's vote on the jury. Yul is like one of my favorite players that ever played. I think he really inspired a bunch of other people. Like Fishback on Survivor Know-It-All said that Yul was one of his biggest inspirations to play Survivor. So I'm looking forward to seeing Yul Kwon come back to play Survivor.
It's this is his second time coming back.
I didn't think we ever see him, but he's so strategic that he can adapt to the.
Why didn't you think you'd ever see him come back?
Because I don't think he just never wanted to come back.
Oh. I mean, for some reason I don't know. Maybe I need to watch Cook Islands again. I don't know. He doesn't jump out to me as one of the greatest players ever. But I do remember him being very controlling. But like you said, that was part of his strategy and stuff. So. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to it because we haven't seen him in a long time. There's a lot of people in here we haven't seen in a long time or haven't only played once, and that's kind of cool.
All right, let's move on to. I actually think the GOAT is Parvati Shallow, the winner of Survivor Micronesia.
Parvati Shallow is the greatest of all time.
The fans versus favorites. She came in 6th place in Survivor Cook Islands, and she came in 2nd in Heroes versus Villains. The way Parvati plays, I mean, she plays the whole flirt game, and the season she won, she had the whole Black Widows parade of all the women who basically tricked Eric to give up his immunity necklace to these females. I mean, only a woman could do that. A villainous, evil mind could only come from a woman's mind could do that. And I mean, she's a good physical player. She finds idols too. And she is good at building alliances.
Yeah, all female alliances, too.
But don't forget about Russell, though.
I know. But this cracked me up because of our last horrible season that you still say is so good because they got so offended at the mention of the girls' alliance. But when I was going back and watching these videos, so many goddamn girl alliances, I'd be a little concerned. And Parvati is like the queen of it.
But the thing is, though, most female alliances don't work. But when they work so damn good. But her alliance, like Vanuatu, for example, the knife season, where the women got rid of all the men except for one guy, and then women just all turned on each other. He eventually won that season. So most time, women alliances don't work. There's another example that's a little further down this list that might be the greatest player to ever play and one of the worst seasons to ever play, but. I do think Parvati is.
Parvati's good. She is, especially her first 2 seasons, she was very flirty. And I remember specifically her having, what's his name? The grave digger guy, the big black guy. What's his name?
James.
James had him wrapped around her finger. And I don't blame her. I mean, she's smoking hot. But
she's actually married to a former survivor.
Really?
Yeah, who? John Fincher, who played in Russell season.
Huh.
The one that turned on the Galoo Alliance.
Huh.
She's actually married to him.
Cool.
So.
Anyway, she has not been back in a while.
Yeah, she hasn't been back in 10 years.
Yeah.
Because Heroes vs. Villains was 10 years ago.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. I thought she would never come back.
No, I didn't think so either.
Yeah. So this will be interesting. She's definitely, I think, could definitely make it far in the game.
I think she could be I think she could be the first one voted out. Come back through the edge of extinction and win the game at the end of the game.
Yeah. God, I keep forgetting about edge of extinction.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's just a halfway point. I know it won't be. All right, let's move on to Boston Rob Mariano, winner of Redemption Island, came in 10th place in Survivor Marquesas, 13th in Heroes vs. Villains, and came in 2nd in Survivor All Stars.
And don't forget, he was on that great season last season as a
advisor.
What the hell he was doing?
He was part of the small table. He was Littlefinger and Varys on the Island of the Idols. So, Boston Rob, I mean, do we really need to say anymore? He's good.
He's good.
The problem is he's played so many damn times. He's wrote a book about Survivor. He's going to be an easy. If they don't, he says it every season. He said if they don't get rid of me on the first vote, they're idiots.
I think the season he won
was the easiest season to win.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot of gameplay.
It was a cult.
Yeah,
it was a complete cult.
It was like he was the god, and
he's like, I want our people to treat other people like crap. It's like I'm not, but I want them to.
But you got to give it to him. I mean, you got to have some type of control to pull that shit off.
Yeah,
so,
and he took puppets like Philip Shepard, and
he's very entertaining too.
Yeah, I mean his confessionals are hilarious. Like the one I remember where he's like, "It's like this idol clue. I have the idol, so
yeah,
might as well throw it away."
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to see Boston Rob come back. Probably for the final time, but who hell knows anymore.
I think the great thing about this, with all these people, is everybody's a goddamn threat. So I don't know whether they're going to be like, Boston Rob's a threat. And I'll be like, well, yeah, but Parvati's a threat too. So everybody's a damn threat.
So who's the threat of all the threats? That's the question.
I don't know. It's hard to pick.
Okay, so let's move on to Sophie Clark, the winner of Survivor South Pacific. This one, I mean, she is, I think, a good player. I don't think she really was, because this was the Coach versus Aussie season.
Yep.
And she took Coach to the end. I mean, she won the immunity that Aussie didn't win and was able to take Aussie out and says, I am the new Dragon Slayer. And she is very smart, analytical, and I think...
Is this the one where Aussie like kept winning over and over and over again?
In Redemption Island.
Yep. So Aussie probably should have won if he ever had a chance. If
Aussie had beaten her, he would have won. He would have won.
Yeah.
And she beat him. And
I watched the video, and I remember her people did not like her very much. Mm-hmm. And then somebody at the end of her tribal, kind of what started happening is somebody would come up and be like, "Don't hate her because she beat you," and something that should have happened for Russell, basically, that never happened. She had a champion in the jury that kind of swayed all the votes her way. Mm-hmm. Because her tribe didn't like her. She was, I don't know. I remember her and the Cochran. Wasn't it Cochran? His first season here. And, and the whole thing where his tribe was bullying him. Then he came over here and then he swapped. And then she didn't like him. And
well, yeah, because we appreciate people turning on people.
Yeah.
We love that, but we don't like those people either. So thank you for your help. Thanks for helping us, but you're going out seventh.
I feel like this is kind of, she's got like an Audrey vibe where she could go out first, but if she sticks around, could probably weasel her way in there.
But I think it will be so underestimated. Because who really remembers her?
I know. It was hard for me. I definitely had to look her video up.
So I think, yeah, I'm kind of, it's kind of cool to see her come back.
Okay.
All right, moving on. We have Kim Spradlin, the winner of Survivor One World. I think Kim Spradlin probably played maybe one of the single best games of Survivor ever.
Yeah.
In a season with no winners, all rookies, she completely ruled that game. She puppeted everyone along, and she was good at the physical challenges. But just
this was an all girls alliance, too, right? Yep.
This was the One World where they did male versus females, all in one tribe.
I remember they all were like, "No, we're not going to go to the men's tribe." And then they finally caved and went to the men's tribe because for warmth or whatever. I don't remember what they were living all on the same tribe, but they still had like separate.
Yeah, it was a cool premise, but then the show kind of turned shitty whenever they said, and this was also the stupid Colton season too. Yeah. This was a bad season. I hate this season. I think this is very good. I think this is like one of the worst.
But yeah, another all girl alliance that I can remember when I watched the video where the guys didn't see it coming, and once they figured it out, it was way too late. Yeah. And
she's good.
Yeah,
She was very good that season. So she could possibly...
Once again, I just don't... If we're going to pick threats of threats, I don't know. I just don't picture her as one. But
okay. Moving on, we have Denise Stapley from winner of Survivor Philippines.
Had no clue who this was. I even asked Jordan before I even started getting into this, and I was like, who is this? But go ahead.
You remember?
Well, I watched her video.
So she was in every tribal council her season.
Okay.
She was on the tribe with Malcolm and Black Russell. She was a therapist, so she knows how to deal with people, how to take with them, but still therapist. But I think Malcolm should have won this season, but she had to rely on he who must not be named to take her to the end.
She is one of the ones that I read a little bit about after her Survivor experience. She's kind of stayed the same. She didn't go out and buy houses and cars. Still has her same beat up 20-year-old car she drives around, kind of stuff. But yeah, once again, even when I watched it, didn't seem like there was a lot of strategy in her play.
She was very strategic.
I mean, I don't know. She seemed like she kind of just rode coattails.
One of the funniest moments is from her season. It was whenever they were getting rid of Petter, and Petter went to the vote table and just yelled, "Denise!"
I don't remember that. That's pretty funny.
So, all right, let's move on to we have Tyson Apostle, the winner of Survivor Blood versus Water. He came in 8th place in Survivor Tokashins, and he came in 15th place in Heroes versus Villains.
I love Tyson.
Tyson's awesome. I mean, he's great TV.
Great comedic.
I don't know if I don't think there's a chance in hell he wins this. He played amazing Blood versus Water. I think main reason was because he got injured like the first or second challenge, so he wasn't as physical dominant as he was the previous season.
He uses that to his advantage.
He uses that to his advantage.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I feel like Tyson is a very balanced player. Mm-hmm. It's weird. He's got just the right amount of physical threat, just the right amount of strategery. He even used it in. I watched his tribal his final tribal where he's trying to win over the jury. He uses just a little bit of tears, a little bit of strategy, a little bit of physical threat. I think he's a very balanced player, and yes, he's funny to watch. He's got like great confessionals and stuff too. And when you're in a freaking season just full of stacked people, he could slide around in there.
Yeah. And, he risked it all he could have, whenever Sierra pulled her move to split the votes, and he was like, I'll just draw a rock. If I go home, I go home.
Yeah.
So, pretty
Not
ballsy.
too many people do want to do that.
No.
Yeah.
Most people are like, no, I'm getting rid of you.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to Tony Blacos,
Woo!
the winner of Kagion, and also he came in 19th place in Survivor Game Changers.
But you remember in Survivor Game Changers, before we get into this, they considered him a huge threat. He was the biggest threat of everybody.
That's why they got rid of him so quick.
But this season, you forget it. He's even in there. I don't know if he's going to be a huge threat.
I mean, you never know. I mean, he's on Bill Spy Shacks, and Tony is one of the great players.
I love Tony.
And I know you'll disagree with me on this.
What you're going to say.
But he took the Russell strategy and made it more likable and was able to win with the Russell strategy.
I consider him he's a Russell wannabe or I don't know, discount Russell.
He's not a discount Russell because he won.
I know
he's a better version of Russell.
This goes back to my thing where I think Russell should have won both his seasons.
But he made people. But he got people to vote for him. Russell couldn't get people to vote for him. That's part of the game.
I think the jury had. It all depends on your final jury, and I think his final jury was more willing to give him money based on his gameplay. I think they have almost the exact same kind of game, him and Russell Hand.
But Tony, he found idols, he built shacks, he kept Spencer around, a big threat, so people would always go after Spencer before they went after him. A great strategy, which has really been implemented in later seasons of Survivor that we've seen the past 5 or so years.
I want to see another Spy Shack.
So, I mean, he's going to have plenty of threats around him, but are they going to consider him a bigger threat than others around him?
I don't know. It's a good question.
So, let's move on to Natalie Anderson, the winner of Survivor San Juan del Sur, Blood vs. Water 2.
I like her a lot.
I didn't finish the season.
I remember that, because it has, what's the old guy in it?
Keith Nail.
Keith, yep.
Stick to the plan.
Yeah.
The reason I didn't finish this season was because of the Survivor Facebook page kept spoiling it for me, so I didn't have a chance to actually watch the show. And I did not want to go into a show knowing who's going to vote out every episode, so I stopped watching it. That being said, I've watched clips of her, and she does play a damn good game. She's kind of like a Sandra kind of player, where her closest alliance member, Jeremy, got voted out, and so she had to kind of rework her strategy. She played an idol for someone else, and was able to get and actually was one of her resume builders to win the game. So, and she also played a Mason race. So,
yep, she's a twin because Blood with Water. She had her twin. Her twin got voted off first, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
and so she reminded me a lot of Tyson. She's like the female version of Tyson without the humor and the good character, basically. But she's got a very balanced game. But I don't know. I do really like her. But I don't know if I consider her like a huge threat or anything. But yeah, I do like her.
All right, let's move on to another player that was also in that same season. We have Jeremy Collins, the winner of Survivor Second Chance, and he also came in 10th place in Survivor San Juan del Sur. Jeremy, I mean, big threat in that season. A huge threat, and somehow he was able to get to the end and win, and He played the idol for Fishback, and he stayed close with Spencer and Tasha. And people are like, don't take Jerry to the end. You're going to lose. That's why in San Juan del Sur, they got rid of him pretty quickly in the merge. And Jerry's a great player. He really is. Deserved to win that season he won, but it's going to be interesting to see him come back for a third time.
I must have forgot to watch his video. So I'm sitting here trying to think, and I think I'm mixing him up with the guy who played with the Jersey guy. Who was that?
The who?
They were like best buddies all through the end, and then they fought it out at the end. It was more recent season. It was the Jersey guy and
Jersey guy
and the black guy. I don't know. Oh. Anyways, I don't know. It says he's from Foxborough, Massachusetts.
Yeah,
but yeah, he's a cool player. Definitely will probably be a big threat. But yeah.
All right, now we're moving on to all the rest of the players are players who've only played one time.
Okay.
So we have Michelle Fitzgerald, the winner of Survivor Kel Rong. This is a girl you don't like because she beat out Aubrey, but she was kind of likable, and it was kind of a bitter jury of why she won over Aubrey. Back when we played Fantasy Survivor, she was on my Fantasy Survivor team, and she was part of Team Easy. So
yep, like you said, not one of my favorites because I think Aubrey was the strategic mastermind this season, not her. But when I was watching her little video, I saw some of this cool stuff she did.
She did play. I mean, she played a very under the radar game, and that actually might help her because people are like, I don't remember who she is.
There's several times where she almost was gone and kind of saved herself.
I think they said that if her original beauty tribe had went to tribal council, she would have been voted out first, kind of like a future or last pick Kentucky player would have been. But so yeah, I like Michelle. I think she can go far because I don't think people are going to expect the kind of game she's going to play. All right, let's move on to the one you probably hate the most on this list, and that's Adam Clyde from the winner of Survivor's Millennials versus Gen X.
I like to call this season the crybaby season.
Listen, Adam played a good game.
No, he did not.
He played a great game, and the only thing I don't like about his game is using the his mom's dying part of his story.
and over and over again.
But he doesn't tell anybody till the end of the game.
You're right. Us as the audience just gets to see it because every confessional he's crying about his mom.
I told you when we were watching the season, I said Adam's going to win. All of his confessionals, he was having that winner's edit kind of version. And then the final four, though, where you have David Wright, who is in that position, and David's telling, he's like, you should just convince Ken to vote out one of them two because he's not going to turn. He said, no, if I can't get you out, I'm going out now. Because there's no point in me going to the final three if I'm sitting next to you because I'm going to lose. I think that's pretty good move, and I actually think he did play a good game.
I don't know.
He didn't use his mom dying as a strategy to get to the end. He used it at the end, but he didn't get to the end. I think he actually did play a good strategic game.
Here's the honest truth, okay? I had forgotten about a lot of these people, and I was watching their best of videos on YouTube. They're about 12 to 15 minutes each. Couldn't make it through about 3 minutes of this, and I turned it off. I remembered, immediately, as soon as I started playing it, I was like, oh yeah, this is crybaby season. And then got 3 minutes in, and I was like, nope, and shut it off. So a lot of that stuff you were talking about, hell if I remember, because I just remember hating him so much that I could not stand this season.
We'll go back and watch this.
And also, I do remember he cries at the jury and basically, gets the vote for crying. I remember that specifically.
But of the two people, he beat Hannah. And he beat Ken, who really was just kind of David's puppet the whole game. So, really, Adam deserved to win.
I don't remember who I thought, because I don't remember liking Hannah very much. Who the hell knows? I don't know, but God.
All right, let's move on to Sarah Lucina, the winner of Survivor Game Changers, and she also came in 11th place in Survivor Cagayan.
She was kind of Tony's...
She was her protege. I mean, at the end of her game in Survivor Game Changers, she said, I hope Tony is proud of the kind of game I played. And Sarah played a hell of a game her season. I mean, playing against an all-star season, it's hard to win. And most time, women win most of these all-star seasons. And she was doing a challenge, and she sees under Michaela's name says secret advantage, and she's able to go over there and grab it, and no one even realizing she did it. And it's just her thing. She says she's being a cop, knowing how to get those details, build great alliances with Culpepper and Troy Sand, and able to get to the end, getting Sierra from Worlds Apart season, getting her legacy advantage from her by convincing her to. She said, "If I give it out, I'll give you this advantage." And she's like, "Well, I gotta get rid of her. She's gonna give you a secret advantage." So Sarah is a hell of a player. It's gonna be interesting to see her come back.
A very physical player too, and I like her. She's like the female Tony. I mean, not as chaotic as he is, obviously,
and not crazy.
Yeah, which I don't. There's a little method to Tony's madness.
There is a method to Tony's madness. There absolutely is.
But, I think she learned a lot from Tony in that first season when they were together, and she was like, I'm going to bring this into season 2. But, I like Sarah a lot. She's a good player.
All right, let's move on to Ben Strickerberger, winner of Survivor Heroes versus Healers versus Hustlers. This is the one I don't think deserved to win the game, because all he really did was find idols. And
I imagine that's pretty hard.
And I know, but there was no social strategy to it. It's just find idols, play them. And I think that's one of the reasons they brought in the idol nullifier was to stop a guy like Ben.
Kept finding him.
Who kept finding him all the time.
He was the Marine, right? And he had like PTSD, and I do remember him.
And the only reason he went to the final 3 was because they introduced the stupid fire making challenge. And Jeff Probst even said that he regrets not telling them before the season starts.
Yeah. I like the fire challenge because it got to the point where there was no strategy in that last vote. I know we've argued about this before, but I don't think there's strategy in that last vote. So why not add a little extra layer of strategy to it? Because you kind of pick someone to
But I think if you're going to do that, you need to stop the immunity idol at final 6, because then you're automatically, all you have to do is win fire.
Yeah, the thing I don't like is the whole Redemption Island crap, or not Redemption Island, is it Redemption Island, where they come back at the end?
That's Edge of Extinction.
Edge of Extinction, yeah. I do not like somebody coming back.
Listen, there's 3 islands. We have Redemption Island, we have Exile Island, then we have Edge of Extinction.
Edge of Extinction, I don't like Edge of Extinction. But anyways, I don't remember him being overly strategic, but I mean, I imagine it takes a lot of work to find idols. That's pretty good skill. And he's all around. He's one of them players that's, just kind of, I don't know, he's like just a good guy. And so I think that might help him move along here. I could totally see him and Ethan and, pairing up, getting some, I'm trying to think, maybe him and Ethan, and then they could have a wild card like a Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to Wendell. Wendell Holland, winner.
This was the guy. Now, who was the Boston guy that he went with all the way to the
end?
Oh, it's
Dominic.
Dominic, yeah.
This was the closest final 2 of all time, because it went to a tiebreaker.
Yep.
The first tie ever happened in the finale of the show. And Wendell, he's a Donald Glover type Survivor player.
Yeah.
Him and Dominic, they were the biggest allies and the biggest rivals. And I binge watched this entire season because I wasn't watching Survivor at the time. During this season, I was like, let's go back and watch this season, and I loved it. You told me you didn't really like this season.
I don't, because I think Dominique should have won, not Wendell.
I think Wendell deserves to win, though.
We've had this discussion before.
I think it's a flip of a coin. I think both deserve to win, but only one person can win, and it was the closest reason of Dominic losing was because of Wendell.
It was cool having 2 players stick together all the way through it. I mean,
and they try to get each other out.
Yeah,
that's
openly,
and but they just can't get rid of it. It's like a bad rash; you can't get it away. Yeah. And like you see, Wendell won the fire making challenge. If Dominic would have won if we didn't have the fire making challenge, but that actually gives you a good reason to have the fire making challenge to have Wendell in there. So there's both merits, but then you also have that guy who won the Edge of Extinction season, where Dominic said, "You know what? I gotta stop you now
Yeah.
and put myself into the fire making challenge and beat you.
Yeah.
So, but he didn't know that was an option. And to be honest with you, I tried to beat someone in the final 3 before I tried to make fire and beat someone. So Wendell deserves to be in this cast. I'm hoping he does
I
good.
feel like he plays a more laid back game. I don't know if that's your Donald Glover comparison, but he's.
Well, it's just because he kind of looks like him and
Oh.
can rap a little bit.
But
That's why I say whenever I first saw him, it's like, he kind of reminds me of Donald Glover.
But yeah, I remember thinking Dominic should have won this game. It's okay. Keep going.
Oh, okay.
Keep going.
Okay, so we got the final player, and that's Nick Wilson from Survivor. David versus Goliath, our Kentucky boy, the
Hell
one we're
yeah.
rooting for. Nick played a hell game because he would name alliances to
Mason Dixon.
the Mason Dixon.
I forget what the other. Something to do with School of Rock, because that guy was. Producer on School of Rock,
he was a producer, and he was also in the movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool. And then he just would play such a good little game of getting these alliances together, and he was good at it. Like,
he had his little sob story about his grandma or something, and then his dad. But yeah, I mean, it's hard not to root for him because we're from Kentucky. You got to root for our Kentucky guy.
Yeah.
And yeah, he played he was very strategic, and there was a lot of times where he was on the out, especially at the beginning.
yeah, I mean, he was supposed to be voted out first because
Yep.
he was kind of playing a little shady.
Yep.
But him and Christian were kind of Christian got him into the alliance, and then the David versus Goliath season is, I think, the last really good season of Survivor that we've had in a while.
I agree with you.
Because this season was so good.
It was good.
I mean, it was the classic David versus Goliath where the Goliaths are overwhelming the Davids, and then they do the whole vote split thing, the minority vote split. That was, and then there's so many good players from that season I would love to see come back play again.
Yeah, I really do want to see the two geeky people,
Gabby and
yes,
and I also want to see Davey.
yeah,
He was good too.
He was good too. Yeah.
So guys, this is a good cast.
Don't forget, we got tokens this season too. Some kind of bartering system.
Yeah, well, surely we'll
We're
have.
bringing Edge of Extinction back.
I'm sure there's going to be immunity idols hidden places too.
I hope so.
I bet there will be,
Yeah.
and then there'll probably be some other things too. So it's going to be a good season with 20 crazy players who somehow we got to figure out who's going to win this season. So yeah, guys, check us out here every week on the ECK show on Darth Easy YouTube channel. Also subscribe to my other podcast, Darth Easy TV Talk. And also subscribe to both Darth Easy and Rainy Cage for movie reviews and other things.
If you go on YouTube and you type in Rainy Cage and then Survivor audition tape, you can see my audition tape for Survivor.
It is a huge physical effort. Until next time, on Too Easy.
Peace out.